Hello everybody, it's me, Sherman again, and I think we're up to number 14 tonight. I got my hat on. That doesn't mean it's cold outside, but it is a little chilly actually. Victoria lately, we're getting a little bit of rain, so I'm coming to you again from Tempotren in beautiful Victoria, BC. See how I kind of stutter on it even to say it. It's beautiful, but it's still not summer yet. I'm wearing my Rolling Stones shirt again, and we're going to talk about a few things that we've begun. I want to elaborate on them a little bit. A couple chordal things came to mind, so I want to address that. I want to add some more to our major pentatonic licks bank, for which you will have the sheet, and we'll have those posted for you. Some of those steely bends are fun to do, and maybe for you folks for whom that's a new experience, you might find you enjoy it more than you thought you would. So I might plant a little seed here of country rock that you might cultivate and might have some fun with. We've all heard it. It's different hearing it and playing it. And when you're playing these bends, they're a challenge to get in your hand. Call them grips sometimes. They're a little tricky to get. You're grabbing multiple strings, but it's a lot of fun. One more thing I want to talk about is playing cycles of chords. There are certain songs that have cycles, and I'll touch on this a little bit, that cycle a little bit outside the realm of the diatonic sphere. And we've touched on two columns now for minor blues, which I think is a good thing, using Black Magic Woman as the template. So if you've seen that one, then you'll know what we're up against there. It's a whole new learning curve, trying to incorporate the modes, so the Dorian mode. We also touched on the Aeolian mode, 4 chords, so Dorian for 1, Aeolian for the 4 chord, and then of course the wonderful 5 chord harmonic minor scale. Should have a more exotic sounding name, not harmonic minor, but anyway, that's it. Should be called a snake charmer scale or something. Anyway, so that's in the minor blues, and I'll show you a little bit more about that. Starting out though, I wanted to touch on the back to our blues, our original G blues. We touched on tritones, doing this kind of thing, and you remember that kind of thing. So if I go back to the G blues and just touch on those tritones. Remember, for G we had this, for C we had this, and D for this. And if you remember up the line here, 8 and 9 on the 5th and 4th strings respectively for G, and then you had this for C, 7 and 8, 7, 8, and then later 9 and 10 for D. That should give you coverage, and if you know your minor scales up that area, which I think most of you do, your pentatonic minor scales, you can do some pinching. If I put the pick down for a second here, I got more mobility. You can pinch the tritones with these 2 fingers. If you're a fingerstyle player already, then this is going to be easy for you, or easier for you. And you can use the other fingers to grab notes. Now, at first when you're doing these, try doing a pinch on each one. So you don't have to play a note on every pinch, but say you went, okay, very stilted, very stiff. And if you did one after every, okay, so you can do that. The best mixture is on the beat and off the beat. So if you're playing, passing tone there, right? You can do a passing tone. Now you won't like all those stretches you're going to encounter, but as a friend of mine used to say, don't like it, just do it. But do everything gradual, you know, work into it. And then you go to your D, you can use that same, the scale up there, I'm just using minor pentatonic form 3. Then you go to your D. Which fingers you're going to use? Well, whatever works for you. There's your D7. How would that sound with our blues? Let's try it. Down here. Try to keep it really simple there, but a little pass or two with that kind of thing can really do wonders. Also, if you're just playing with a pick, and I'll grab my pick again, you can you can use that to coax the chord progression along. So if I speed this up a little bit. Okay, so you can see that when you speed it up a little bit, it kind of fills out the edge. So see if you can get that sense of swing in that. You can punch those. Now, I want to elaborate, why I backtrack on that was I want to elaborate on the fact that you can use a little more than just the tritones for those little chirps, as we call them. So let's talk about this one right here, for example. Here's the full 7th chord, just the top strings of the G7 bar chord that everybody knows. You could just use that. You could just do that kind of thing. But it'd be a little bit bland, right? So let's take it uptown a little bit, and you can make it into a 13th chord. So take that 7th, which is the top of this bar chord that everybody just knows, right? And just use this. That adds a nice little depth to it, doesn't it? And then when you go to the C7th tritone, I'm just going to add these 2 fingers at the top. Now most guys would play it like this because it's part of that C9th that everybody knows. And of course that's what it is, it's C9th. But I'll just use the 3 fingers there because I can always extend a note or something, right? But it's all good, whatever you like. And then later we'll use this for the D9th. Okay? So I'm just going to use those as punctuation chords. Okay? So for example, here's our blues. I don't know what speed I had here. Well, I won't go too fast. So I'm just going to do this. Just try to get your bearings and kind of lock in. You don't have to play all the time. Leave a little space because that's where your licks are going to go. Now go to the D9th. Passing chord. That'd be okay, it's legal. Now I'll play it. was jumping around there. I didn't get too thematic. I wanted to get into. And so you can get away with just minor pentatonic on that, with the tritones and that. It seems to sound quite nice, because the tritones contain the major thirds, which warm it up a little bit. So when you're going, can you hear that? That little dissonance, that's the warm note, which you would want the major pentatonic on the one chord, right? Remember our rules. Try to put that in there whenever you can. Well, I'm doing the flat 3, but here's the 3, the third of the chord. So, but together with the tritone, sounds great. It's a great sound. So you can see that. So if you use primarily minor pentatonic with occasional major note, if you feel it, if you find one, I threw some of each in there. The minor sounds pretty darn good. So that's a one exception to just playing minor all the time. When you're doing the tritones and those chords, you're providing that warmth within the chords. It's there, and there's the warmth in the ninth. So you've got those nice warmer tones. So there's a lot to be said for mixing textures, and if you can get familiar enough with this, you can dial up the kind of texture you like. Not what I would necessarily choose, but see if you can find one that you like. And as you listen to other players play, you can learn from their mistakes and their victories. You can say, oh, I'd like to, emulate the stuff that you think will fit in your umbrella, under your umbrella, as I always say. And the other stuff, just let it go. You might like it later. There's no shame in just cherry picking all this, because you want to find the stuff that works for you now and get it into your style as fast as you can. Okay, so that, I feel glad we covered that. I want to talk just a little bit about, I'll give you a few more major licks for Country Bank. I think I got up to number 9. So on the sheet I have 21 of these, by the way, so there's more than enough stuff for you to chew on. So number 10, it's back in the key of C. Major pentatonics all the way. With a little bit of sass in there, but the string bending is the focus here. Trying to bend up and sweetly get, and if you can't get to those notes, chances are you have a heavier gauge string. So this is not going to be for you guys who have more than a 009 first string. So you're going to want to consider the string gauges. So if you have a second guitar, string it with some lighter strings. I use a 15. I'll remind you about that. I said that earlier on in one of the lessons. I swap out the 16 for a 15. I find the 16 is a little too chunky. 9, 11, 16, that's a bit of a jump. 9, 11, 15 works out pretty nicely. So a standard 9 set, swap out to a 15. And if you go to the store and you find there's no 15s there, chances are I bought them all up already. But anyway, I like the 15s. Okay, so here's number 10. So I'm going to use my what I call correct position, pinky on the 10th in form 2. So I'm going to bend it up and release. Carry on. Okay, a little faster. Number 11, we're going to slide a double stop in, which is coincidentally the notes of the C chord. Those two notes. And we talked about thirds before. So there's the thirds at the 5th fret going up here. So we're going to start right about here and go. Then I'm going to go back 2 frets. This does not fit in with your minor pentatonic thinking. This is a whole new ball game because the satellite notes change because the C major scale. There's that note, so you need to start with that. So grab that shape 2 frets lower, pull off. MC5 is indicated. That means I'm covering this area somehow. So back up and slide into the 7 from no particular point. Flat 5 kind of thing with a 6 to 5 pull up. Sassy, right? So okay, number 12, slide into that 8 that we just ended up on. Hammer. Now one of these, Floyd Kramer, great piano player, check him out, Floyd Kramer, Dolos. The that Jimi Hendrix adapted to the guitar, and other people. There was a guy in the Love and Spoonful band in the 60s, Zal Janowski, I believe, if I got the name correct, from Toronto. He adapted a lot of those. Very pretty. I think, you know, they fit into this kind of stuff. So here, this one is slide in to 8 from no particular place, hammer, double stop, trill. Notice I'm letting the lower note ring out, so be careful, don't flap your hand down. Another reason to have that thumb back there if you can. And then, so bend up, don't let go of it, and let it down. So, what a nice sound, eh? Blending. So, you can hear all that ringing, you're getting it right. So now number 13, nice little trill, right? Another trill, nice and smooth, none of this. That would be double flags, just straight time. So, MC5, so lay across these, let them blend a little bit. See how I can let that, I can build a chord like that. So here it is. Now number 14, MC5 again, sliding into it. What a nice bell-like sound that is, isn't it? Now I'm going to cheat a little bit, put the middle finger on that 7. We usually use the third finger with the middle finger supporting. I'm using the middle with the first finger supporting. Then my third finger is free for this 8, second string. Notice I'm still holding that, ouch, so I bent that up, then I hit that bent note, which is 9 in parentheses, so what a lovely sound that could be. So, I'll try it again, I muted one note. There you go, it makes me want to bite my lip when I do that. Okay, so one more for tonight in this category. This one we're going to slide in. That's very Motown. So I'm going to slide in, blend that note underneath. So notice with this style, you don't just, you're blending. Listen for those blends, those little bleeds between notes. Hammer, trill. Hit the 8, notice the hold sign, the little bird's eye hold sign. And you could shake that or whammy it. So we have. So you've got a lot of nice stuff now going on with these type of things, and you can put them in to all sorts of songs. And they don't have to be as country-ish if you have a version of that particular type of music. I had to grow through a phase where I stopped stereotyping that as just corny stuff and everything. I think there's been enough great country rock songs out there that you shouldn't have to feel you know, that sort of revulsion to it, even if you don't identify with some of the lyrics. The players are great. The steel players are amazing. The volume pedal swells that I talked briefly about, we could explore that more. As I get feedback from you guys about what you'd like to see, I will show more of that kind of stuff if you'd like to. I got a lot of interesting things I could show you. Many, many licks. I'll have more licks than you'd ever need. In fact, one of my books, I'm not trying to sell them, but one of my books is called, what the heck is it called? Oh, Licks Aplenty. It's called Licks Aplenty under my name. So check it out. It's rather thick, and I do analysis of all sorts of styles, and I give you lots of licks, my favorites. So, but I'm going to pass them along in this free seminar that we're doing here now to give you that gift, which I promised. I'm not here to sell. So these are outtake sheets that contain the vitamins, musical nutrition that I think you need to kind of make this all work. Okay, so there's the next installment of that. I'll try to remember that I've got 2 lines more to go. and I'll complete that sheet, which is called Major Pentatonic Licks. So I've touched on the chords. That I want to talk about secondary dominant cycles. Most of you have done your work with the Mixolydian mode, and now we've touched on the harmonic minor scale with regard to this Black Magic Woman thing we're doing now. So when you encounter songs that have secondary dominants, I remember John Lennon used to say, when people would say things like that, he'd say, "Those sound like tropical birds to me." Well, I don't want to get too theoretical, but you'll notice there are a lot of songs. Some of the old ragtime songs would be, if they were in the key of C, they'd go. Cycle. Everybody's heard them. So I just put that down there, and you can't fake your way through this on just major pentatonic, minor pentatonic. There's no way to get around this. And these cycles are a lot of fun. A lot of happy blues will contain them. So I've just put it down here on the loops station, what I just did. So it's going down. So C, A7, D7, G7. Now I got to do some thinking here on this, because I have to play the Mixolydian on the D7 chord. I have to play Mixolydian on the G chord, which is not too bad because that's just a C major scale anyway. So the chord that's most troublesome is the A7. Now there are a lot of ways you can do this one, but you could use the snake charmer scale we're dealing with now. So you're familiar with that sound. We've done it in the Black Magic. So on the C chord, C major. On the A7, the snake charmer scale. You can hear that, it sounds really nice. And then I'm going to stay right in this area. Here's the D7. For that one you need to do the Mixolydian. For that one, here it is. And we had that before when we were in our G blues. And then the C major scale again for G7, which is equivalent of a G Mixolydian. So I'm going to do it slowly. Here comes the song, just what I promised. Here we go. C, A, so C major, so that's pretty fast, it's pretty brisk, but I'm just going to play through it and do just what I said. So I'm going to start with C, so you can see that you're not going to fake that out with some minor pentatonic sludge. I'll try it. I'll show you how bad it sounds. Here's your A7. So I'm just going to riff on it. I'll do minor pentatonic. Ouch. Like it at all, so I'm not even going to continue. I'll do all major, a little more accommodating. You can almost get away with it, right? but not really. So now I'm going to do a little bit of that and some of this new science with the new scales. So again, I'm just planting a seed here, showing you one more application of the harmonic minor scale, the beautiful snake charmer scale. And you'll find so many applications other than what we're doing with the minor blues, okay? So all this theory that many people online right now are saying is not important, not necessary. I don't know what they're drawing on to create what they're doing. They don't have to do it my way. There are many ways to approach this thing. As I always say, the paths are many, but the way is one. So if you can get to your solution some other way, I don't know. But I'm breaking it down my way, and if this works, I'm so happy to be able to share with you what helped me along my journey. So chord progressions like that are really tough to get something satisfying going. And you don't have to get too jazzy about it. Clapton can navigate those things. You know, he's pentatonic based guy, but he knows enough of what around the back doors and front doors and side doors of all these chords to land on his feet. But without a science, without some underpinning of understanding, it's pretty tough to get through those. So I'm going to share with you that way. So I wanted to plant that seed with you. So that was just a simple C, A7, D7, G7 progression. Put one on a loop station, give yourself plenty of time, and just try playing along with that. And you know where those mixolydians are, and if you can find the harmonic minor scale for that particular instance, that would be the one on our strip. It would be number 4. So the 4th one is the one that I used at the 5th fret. So the root note with the star is at the 5th fret. A lot of stretches there, right? You got to stretch on the fat string, stretch on the skinny string. So a lot of nice stuff there. This is getting into an area that I really like, and I'm pleased to be sharing it with you. And I'm not just saying that as any hype or sales pitch or anything. I'm more than glad to think of you guys being out there, and gals being out there, taking your playing to this next level, where you can attack all these different kinds of songs that you never dreamed perhaps you could do when you first found the pentatonic minor form 1, and hopefully you can do that. So tonight we hit on some chords, throw in some nice little jazzier textures, make it jazzy blues. You know, you can check out for source material. Duke Robillard is really good at that kind of thing. Ronnie Earl is another guitarist worth checking out that you guys might not have heard about, but you should. And they got albums, a lot of them out there, and I think you'll enjoy their style and the phrasing and the way that they swing. That'll enhance your blues and give you a better range. So anyway, that'll wrap that up for number 14, and I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you're enjoying them. Send some comments. I can take any criticism, constructive please, and we'll see what we can do to accommodate, okay? So take care, stay well, good night.